This program has 5 key objectives. By the end of the program, you will be able to describe the retail culture, retailers' mindsets, and how they think about and get ready for negotiation. Identify the pre-negotiation planning that will help you succeed and maintain control throughout the negotiation process. Recognize the tactics that retailers will use on you and how to interpret them. Deploy appropriate counter tactics. And, as a result, successfully conclude negotiations to create a win-win for both parties. Retailers buy, and therefore negotiate for a living. Most of the time, they buy merchandise for resale to consumers, and they live or die by the margins they make. Hence, negotiation skills are a core competence for them, and they are good at it. So expect tough negotiations when you submit a proposal. Even when you are selling to IT or finance people, they absorb these skills from their buying colleagues, almost by osmosis. In some cases, in the small and medium business sector, you are negotiating with the owner, and he or she will have learned to negotiate as they built their company. Whoever you are negotiating with, he or she has a duty to get the best deal they can for their business, and they like to feel in control. Generally, retailers have done such a good job of conditioning vendors' thought processes, most of you probably thought about and discussed your discount strategy as you were developing the initial pricing for your proposal. Think about it for a moment. You start the whole sales cycle at a disadvantage. Retailers start positioning themselves for negotiation in their very first phone calls and meetings, before they have even decided to buy from you. You may hear phrases like, "You'll have to sharpen your pencil to do business with us," or, "We don't have a big budget for this project." Retailers generally have a preference for dual vendor strategies wherever possible. They frequently try to play 2 vendors off against each other, and sometimes they create a ghost vendor who is not really in the deal, just to keep you under competitive pressure. Beware when you read the sign-in book at reception. Some retailers will sign in a vendor that has not even visited them, just to give the illusion of competition. If you ask how many other vendors they are talking to, they will always say at least 3, even if you are the only one or the only one they think might have a good chance. Early in a negotiation, retailers will try to establish how much room they have to squeeze your price. The more honestly you answer these questions, the more you position yourself to be squeezed. Be ready and listen out for these key questions before you go to any meetings, and have the right answers ready. That is, the answers that remove the retailer's room to apply more pressure. Stretch the truth if you need to. You can't mislead people about year-end dates and so on, but you should always say that you have made your quota already, or are well on target to do so. You should especially answer the same for your boss. Click on either of the characters to move through the conversation.
By the way, when is the end of your fiscal year?
December.
Have you made your quota for the year yet?
No, not yet, but I'm close.
So this deal will make your quota for the year then? Has your district manager made his quota yet? That was interesting. He wasn't expecting me to ask that. When is the last date to book an order and get credit for this year? He hasn't given me any room to maneuver with that answer.
Contrary to what you may believe, retailers do not buy on price alone. As an example, look at Walmart. For years, they have run one of the biggest commercial Teradata systems in the world. There is nothing cheap about Teradata. Walmart bought it, and they invested hundreds of millions of dollars upgrading it frequently because they saw the value. When you are driving, look out for your clients' trucks and look at the brand names they buy. They don't buy the cheapest trucks either, because they understand the lifetime cost of ownership of assets like trucks and systems. In Martec's many years of retail experience, we have never known a retailer knowingly buy the wrong solution because it was the cheapest. They do sometimes buy the wrong solution, but this is mostly because the vendor they bought did a better job of selling their solution. The retail mindset is always to select the right solution for the job and then to negotiate the price to the acceptable level. So the first strategy to apply from your perspective is to keep selling the value. Retailers understand the concept of win-win only too well. They know they need their vendors as much as their vendors need them. They know that if they strip the price too far, something else will give, and it may be service or support or the quality of work on implementation. They face this issue with their merchandise suppliers all the time. Screw the merchandise vendor too hard, quality of the product may suffer in some way, and customer returns increase. Retailers really do understand all this. They do want you to make money because they need you to stay in business. The worst outcome for them is to buy your solution and a year from now you aren't in business and they can't get support. However, if you are a U.S. grocer, you typically make pre-tax profits of 1.4% sales. A fashion retailer might make 7%. In Europe, retailers typically make 3% to 7% of sales as profits. This is considered good, and retailers fail to see why you should make any more than they do. They don't want you to get too fat on their account. Understanding how they think will help you plan your strategy for negotiating a deal.